Specialized tissues in plants. Are plants really alive? Indeed, they are. If you look deep inside a living plant, you will find a busy and complex organism. Plants move material, grow, repair themselves, and constantly respond to the environment. Their cells and tissues work together in an effective way. The leaves of this sundew plant capture and digest live prey. What are the three principal organs of seed plants? The three principal organs of seed plants are roots, stems, and leaves. Roots, stems, and leaves. The three principal organs of seed plants are root, stems, and leaves, as shown in the figure. Roots, stem, and leaves. The organs are linked together by tissue systems that produce, store, and transport nutrients and provide physical support and protection. The dermal tissue, the outside layer, vascular tissue, red and yellow, shown here, and then ground tissue, the supporting inner structure tissue. Roots anchor plants in the ground, holding soil in place and preventing erosion. Root systems absorb water and dissolve nutrients. Roots transport these materials to the rest of the plant, store food, and hold plants upright against forces such as wind and rain. Plant stems provide a support system for the plant body, a transport system that carries nutrients and defense system that protects the plant against predators and disease. Stems also produce leaves and reproductive organs such as flowers. The stem's transport system lifts water from roots up to the leaves and carries the products of photosynthesis from the leaves back down to the roots. Leaves are the plant's main photosynthetic organs. Leaves are exposed tissue to the dryness of the air and therefore have adjustable pores that help conserve water while letting oxygen and carbon dioxide enter and exit the leaves. What are the primary functions of the main tissue systems of seed plants? The dermal tissue is the protective outer covering of the plant. Vascular tissue supports the plant body and supports water and nutrients throughout the plant. These are the vascular tissues. And the ground tissue produces and stores sugar and contributes to physical support of the plant. It's the inside ground tissue, the lightest color in this diagram. So is this a monocot or a dicot? Plants have three main tissue systems: dermal, vascular, and ground. These cross sections of the principal organs of seed plants show that all three organs contain dermal tissue, vascular tissue, and ground tissue. So xylem is shown in yellow, going to the leaves, and phloem is in red, going to the roots. Dermal tissue is the protective outer covering of the plant. Dermal tissue in young plants consists of a single layer of cells called the epidermis. The outer surface of the epidermal cells are often covered with a thick, waxy layer called the cuticle, which protects against water loss. In older plants, dermal tissue may have many cell layers and may be covered with bark. Some epidermal cells have tiny projections, known as trichomes, that help protect the leaf and may give the leaf a fuzzy appearance. In roots, dermal tissues include root hairs cells that help absorb water. Vascular tissue supports the plant body and transports water, nutrients throughout the plant. The two kinds of vascular tissue are xylem, a water conducting tissue, and phloem, a tissue that carries dissolved food. Both xylem and phloem consist of long, slender cells that connect almost like sections of pipe. Xylem, flowing water, is a tracheid, and the vessel element connected. Tracheids are smaller, and vessel element is a larger section. The sieve 2 element in the companion cell supports the phloem. All seed plants have xylem cells called tracheids. As they mature, tracheids die, leaving only their cell wall. These cell walls contain lignin, a complex molecule that gives wood much of its strength. Openings in the wall connect neighbor cells and allow water to flow from cell to cell. Thinner regions of the wall, known as pits, allow water to diffuse from tracheids into surrounding ground tissue. So the tracheids have pits, allowing the water to diffuse. Angiosperms have a second form of xylem tissue, known as vessel elements, which are wider than tracheids and are arranged end to end on top of one another like a stack of tin cans. After they mature and die, cell walls at both ends are left with slit like openings through which water can move freely. Unlike xylem cells, phloem cells are alive at maturity. The main phloem cells are sieve tube elements, which are arranged end to end, forming sieve tubes. The end walls have many small holes that through which nutrients move cell to cell. As sieve tubes mature, they lose their nuclei and most other organelles. The remaining organelles hug the inside of the cell wall and are kept alive by companion cells. The cells that surround sieve tube elements are called companion cells. The companion cell keeps the nuclei and other organelles throughout their lifetime. Ground tissue produces and stores sugar and contributes to the physical support of the plant. It is neither dermal nor vascular. Three types of ground tissue, which vary in cell wall thickness, are found in plants: parenchyma, thin cell walls; collenchyma, thicker cell walls; and sclerenchyma, thickest cell walls. Parenchyma cells, the main type of ground tissue, have thin cell walls and large central vacuoles surrounded by a thin layer of cytoplasm. In leaves, these cells contain many chloroplasts and are sites of most of the plant's photosynthesis. Sclerenchyma cells have strong, flexible cell walls that help support plant organs. Sclerenchyma cells have extremely thick, rigid walls that make ground tissue, such as seed coats, tough and strong. How do meristems differ from other plant tissues? Meristems are regions of unspecified cells in which mitosis produces new cells that are ready for differentiation. Even the oldest trees produce new leaves and new reproductive organs every year, almost as if they remain forever young. The secrets of plant growth are found in meristems. Meristems are regions of unspecified cells in which mitosis produces new cells that are ready for differentiation. The meristems are found in places where the plant growth grows the most and rapidly, such as the tips of stems and roots. Because the tip of a stem or root is known as its apex, meristems in these regions are called apical meristems. Unspecified cells produced in apical meristems divide rapidly as stems and roots increase in length. The micrographs in the figure show examples of stem and root apical meristems. The shoot apical meristem at the very tip of the shoot, and the root apical meristem at the tip of the end of the root. At first, the new cells that are pushed out of the meristems look very much alike. They are unspecialized and have thin cell walls. Gradually, they develop into mature cells with specialized structure and function. As the cells differentiate, they produce each of the tissue systems of the plant, including dermal, vascular, and ground tissue. The tip here, the terminal bud. Here's an auxiliary bud, also is a meristem. The terminal bud contains a shoot apical meristem. These are leaf primordia, and this is an auxiliary bud primordium, 100 micron, very small. The highly specialized cells found in cones and flowers are also produced in meristems. Flower or cone development begins when the pattern of gene expression changes in a stem's apical meristem. These changes transform the apical meristem of a flowering plant into a floral meristem. Floral meristems produce the tissues of flowers, which include the plant's reproductive organs, as well as the colorful petals that surround them. So for roots, the root apical meristem, there's a root cap for protection. It's the root cap. And here's the root apical meristem, live undifferentiated cells, also very tiny, 50 micron, half as wide